Welcome to In Your City Show. Here we are on finally a sunny day. It's 4:05 and we're just getting started here on the Lou Information Station. That's at louinfo.com. You can watch us virtually. Of course, if you're listening to us on the KLIS, the new station at 5:90 a.m., that's great too. But hey, why not be able to see us and clear
because we talk
voices?
about so much that you're going to want to see some of this stuff, right?
Do we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talk about things that are visual. Sometimes it's visual.
That's true. That's
so
very true.
You want to log on and see what we're talking about.
Yeah, so we appreciate you coming in. We got new coffee cups. There are new coffee cups I put on the shelf over there.
Yes, those are awesome.
Excited to have those. We've been drinking out of ours already, so there's going to be some lucky people that are going to get coffee cups as we move along. Maybe we'll start giving those out for those that are kind enough to give us an answer for our question of the day, which our question of the day is, if your life was made into a reality show, what would its title be? Did you think about that at all?
No.
Do you know what yours would be?
I didn't think about it because I just asked you like 2 minutes ago. What was the question of the day? So I haven't even had time to think about it.
You didn't see me post it. Let's see. Let me give out.
Do you know what yours would be?
Well, Kelly Rissy says, off the hamster wheel, burnout free, drama free, excuse free. That sounds like something that we should all take part in. Maybe to not be, I guess, drama. There was some drama. So we went out on the boat yesterday for Gordon to be able to celebrate Father's Day. And, you know, when you're sober, I think even if I would have had like way too many cocktails, which it is happy hour, by the way, the hottest happy hour on STL. So hopefully you have your beverage going. But if you're driving, maybe it's a Diet Coke, whatever you'd like it to be. But so we go to the Boathouse, which is a super cool place on the river. Great food too.
Tiki bar.
We were starving, so we ordered chicken wings. 40 go back though. We were like, could we order 10 more things? Of course, took everything home.
But here's the great story.
What I was getting to.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
I'd rather you tell it.
I didn't know you were getting there.
No, go. You know, I just took a long way.
We ordered pizza. Yeah. Which Kelly wanted pizza.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
And then we ordered chicken wings, which they both were fantastic.
Like I said, we were hungry and we just kept ordering.
And then I saw this lady next to me and she got chicken fried rice with shrimp.
She thought she did.
Well, yeah, our fried rice with shrimp. And I'm like, wow, that looks good. Can I order that? And the waitress goes, yes. And then all of a sudden the waiter brought over a steak. And then they realized that order wasn't hers, the lady's.
They took it away.
So they took it away from her.
Even though she had ordered it.
Even though she had ordered it, and they took it to someone else, I guess, who had ordered it. And I go, wow, did they just take your fried rice away from you? And she goes, yep, they did. And so I had ordered it, she had ordered it, but she ordered first. Come back a second time with another order of fried rice.
Give it to her,
and then went, oh no, this is somebody else's. Took it away a second time, took her fried rice away. Now, remember, keep in mind, she ordered before me.
Yeah, but we actually ordered before them with our food,
I
so that
know,
might
but
be
still,
why.
I felt so bad, and it's like, so then they come back a third time, and they give me the fried rice.
Which is supposed to be 3 times a charm, but apparently not for her.
And I offered to give it to her. She goes, no, I'm fine. And then finally, they did bring it to her. But
they were having a rough time. It was a little busy, and I'm sure
super busy.
I'm sure they've got a lot of college kids and probably in that are working, so they're learning things as they're working there for the summer. So I'm sure it could get a little bit crazy. The best part.
Oh, go ahead.
I thought that's what you were going to tell.
No, I'm leaving it to you.
So the best part is to people watch, obviously.
There was a Beatles band there.
There was a Beatles tribute band.
Yeah, the Beatles weren't there.
The Beatles weren't there. We thought George was there. Well, actually, if George Harrison and
Richard Petty had a kid,
baby,
it would be the lead singer.
You're wondering, it's not Tom Petty.
like Kelly thought. She goes, he looks nothing like Tom Petty. I'm like, no, Richard
okay, wrong
Petty.
person. So we're sitting there, and you've all probably been there before, where there's just somebody that, what is it with people when they've had too much to drink? They can't just talk to you. They have to literally almost touch your face with their face while they're talking to you. So this woman probably, what do you think? Was she in her 60s maybe?
And let's keep in mind the band had just taken a break, so there was no music playing.
No, there was no music. Well, there was with this
background
woman.
music, but yeah.
So this woman proceeded. First, we didn't know we thought possibly she was friends with the other couples that were sitting there. Yeah, there were 2 women to her left and 2 men to her right, and she was sitting in a chair right in between them, unbeknownst that the 2 men to her right belonged to the 2 women to her left. So she was rather flirtatious with the 2 men to her right, and then she was singing to the lady to the left. And when I say singing, frightening version of the Beatles song. We think she sang the whole soundtrack to this woman in her ear, and she wouldn't quit. She tried to look at her, but her eyeballs were going somewhere else, but she proceeded to sing in a really bad singing voice, one of those drunk ones, I guess.
She thought she was good.
She did probably think she was good. Her hair looked like she had been in bed with her head under the pillow. It was sticking straight up everywhere. So finally, which we were worried because she got up to leave.
She did sing the whole Beatles
library to them. She did finish the album. And then she went around and grabbed someone else who had a puppy. So she had his ear for a while. So I had to do it. I had to go up to the lady that was sitting in front of us and ask her, do you know that woman that just proceeded to sing to you for hours? And she said no, had never met her before. And she also had to tell her that the man that she was quite singing to him, I guess, too, was hers. Mine. Can't take him home with you.
And it's sad because we found out she had driven there.
Yeah,
and
that's what we were worried about.
She was already hammered by the time she got
there. She told the ladies, I probably shouldn't have driven here.
Yeah.
And she was in really bad shape when she was leaving.
And proceeded to talk to everyone as she was walking out the door.
Which is a good thing, because hopefully as she
was... I don't think I didn't see her leave, so...
Hopefully as she was talking to everybody, if she left, she had a little time to maybe have some water and sober up a bit, or maybe someone that works there gave her a ride home. But yeah, it's amazing what you see really anywhere, but on the river has its own unique set of people. What do you want to say? How do you say that? It's like a trip to Walmart.
Wow, I think you said it.
It's really unique and different, super fun.
Oh. It's always a blast.
There is every kind of boat you could ever imagine. Like when you go to the Lake of the Ozarks, if you're not in at least a 40-foot boat and bigger, you're going to get like sunk. The waves and the boats and all the things are down there. When you go to the river, sometimes you're not even sure that it is a boat. that possibly they made it in their garage out of some extra material.
I saw Tom Sawyer on a raft.
Kind of like, you know how they make those like kids make water boats out of cardboard and go-karts out of tin cans, like crazy things. It's sometimes like that. You're not even for sure what it is, and it's somehow floating. We did see a guy going down on a log one time, didn't we? Remember when we saw he was actually at a paddle and he was riding a log, so he must have lost his license. Wonder if you can get a DWI on a log.
Driving a log?
It didn't have an engine though.
That's pretty funny.
So as we scoop along, we do have some loose scoop today. So you ready for a little scoop?
Let's go with it.
Give me something.
Well, Arch and the Arch. You know what? Arch Manning makes his ways in the trenches. Arch Manning, the Texas quarterback and nephew of the Manning dynasty, was in St. Louis Greer neighborhood. I don't even know where that is.
Maybe Ava will type in the comment and let us know what the Greer neighborhood is.
He stopped and hung out with some kids, had played some football, and
now see, this is the thing about being virtual. So why didn't you tell me that I had a hunk of hair that was sticking up to the left? I don't want to look like I just came off the boat.
As you were making fun of the lady that had her hair.
Yeah, that's what happens. You make fun of people, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I have like hair that's.
Let me fix
it. Can you fix this one too? Thank you. Okay, I like that. Appreciate it. That's kind of cool. So did you finish that it was here, Arches for Children, like a
Yeah, no, I had no idea what he was here for, but Arches for Children. Yes, that was it.
Now, sheriff office bans gossip among deputies.
Yeah, right.
I mean, isn't that all there is to talk about? Is what's going on in the office? So, St. Louis Sheriff's Office has quietly, not quite enough because I found out, that he has introduced an official anti-gossip policy. Deputies were required to sign a no rumors, no leaks pledge. Failure to comply could lead to termination. So word is morale, that it's a bit shaky in that department, and some were actually excited about signing it. I would probably lose my job right away. I just can't hold it in.
The first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes. I'm
Hey,
like,
did you hear?
Hey, you didn't hear it from me, but.
How do you not gossip at a police station?
How do you just not gossip, period?
Every 5 minutes, you got a story to tell about somebody,
Yeah.
or something.
I know, there's always something going on, good stuff.
And,
I mean, when you have friends that like work in the ER, in the hospitals, there's some really good stuff that you can hear there.
And here's a tough question. How do you determine the difference between investigative work and gossip?
See?
Yeah.
You've got to talk about it to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just relabel it. I like that, investigative work. From now on, when I start to gossip, I'm just going to say, I've got some investigative work to do right now. I need your input on it. So you know this guy, reality star return, Tom Sandoval. That's a friend of yours.
Yep.
You know his dad as well.
Yep.
Every once in a while,
Tony.
Tom comes in town. It was funny the last time he came in town, and he was out at the Cowboy Bar or
Down on
Honky
Main
Tonk
Street?
or whatever
Yeah.
on Main Street, and so you were having a conversation with him, of course, catching up, and someone behind's going, "Is that Tom Sandoval? Can I get near him and get his picture?" It's so funny because like it doesn't ever enter my thought or my mind.
What, to get close to some like celebrity?
Well, Thor, I might want to get up close and talk to. I know you're sitting right there.
I'm sitting right here.
But wow. But no, not really, no. And he's a younger, I look at him as like a, young adult,
The
or he's
Rock?
Tom's, what?
If The Rock was in a bar, I know you'd go up and talk.
I'd probably want to say hi. I probably wouldn't, I would try not to be stupid giddy, but I'd have to say hi. Actually, I couldn't wait. Tom Farrell. I
Will
love him so
Ferrell.
much, I don't even know his name.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Gosh,
You did go goo goo gaga for him.
he is one of my favorite. He's so funny to me. I just love that he's not pretentious, or I mean he's just funny. So seeing him, we made eye contact. I can still see it like it was yesterday. He came in town for a movie premiere, and I had to meet him. So the lady next to me was pregnant, and she pulled her shirt up so that he could sign her belly, and he made eye contact. And he was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And then he signed my little card that I had. It was my girl's picture, and he signed the back of it.
That's all you had with you?
That's all I
Isn't
had
it
with
funny
me.
when you like meet somebody and you want to get an autograph and all you have is
Why?
like, I don't
And
know.
why do we want their signature? That's weird. Like, do I need to prove that I met him? So
Yeah.
if you sign this, now you know that I met him. I mean, why do we want their signature?
It is crazy because I think we go through these moments in life where we feel like we need that. I remember that I was a big, had to get sports athletes.
Oh my
autographs.
gosh, ridiculous. You still have tubs of it downstairs.
I know. And it's like,
Why?
I know, because it means,
I mean, there's people that will buy some really crazy stuff
Now-
of a celebrity.
especially, and I don't mean to belittle new athletes or anything like that, but it's like they haven't really proven anything. But someone like Babe Ruth, yeah, I get
You
that.
wish you would have got his first
Yeah.
card.
I do have a Ted Williams ball. I have a
don't know
Reggie
Ted.
Jackson ball.
I know him.
But some of those guys, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to have something
Especially kids.
that's that old and
Right.
hard to get. You will never get again.
Yeah.
But I mean, some things are like, why did I get this?
I know.
And
And
then you get them. Like I had stuff from Brett Favre, and then you watch the Brett Favre documentary.
And then
that's
you
on
just want to give it
Netflix.
away.
Now it's like, I can't give this stuff away. It's like, wow.
Wasn't so good.
Yeah, it does lose its value. So
Right.
anyway.
So St. Louis native and reality TV personality Tom Sandoval, a.k.a. Scandoval, from Vanderpump Rules, is headed back to the House of Villains Season 3. So scheduled for early 2026. For all of you that love Tom Sandoval and Vanderpump Rules, you are going to be able to see him again while repping STL with a new stirring drama. We'll have to see if we can get the scoops ahead of time. This one I'm super excited about. I don't know about you, but I love pancakes.
I do too.
And is there anybody who hasn't had a late night out that didn't experience Uncle Bill's Pancake House before? We were so sad when it left.
Especially the one on Kings Highway.
I mean, that carpet you could stick to when you would walk through that place, but you would still order those pancakes. They never, I guess, did they ever clean it when it was, open
I don't think
late
you
hours?
notice at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after you've been hanging out. And with my job, having a DJ company and playing late nights and playing in bands late nights, it's like you didn't notice how dirty the place was.
No, but you did notice the girl at Waffle House.
I did.
Gordon always says that a girl, it doesn't matter where you work or what you do, they always have potential. But a girl will never look at a guy
that works at McDonald's
and you know what, if he just dropped those fries, he might be okay. They talk about that girl. What was she doing working at Waffle House? I think it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning. She just looked hot.
I'm telling you, she was model material.
How about when she spoke?
Huh? Yeah.
It didn't matter.
No, she spoke very well.
That's the thing, too. It really doesn't matter what they say, does it?
just be quiet.
Just be quiet. So anyway, the one of South St. Louis's most beloved breakfast joints, Uncle Bill's Pancake House, dating back to 1961, is gearing up to reopen its original location later this year, just a year after closing for the owner's retirement. So locals are calling it a step back into time. So I'm super excited about that one.
It's the owners of the Golden Hoosier. That's where we went.
I love that place.
Yeah, that was really cool. Those are the ones that are redoing the...
What is that road? Is it not
Kings Highway.
It is a Kings Highway, not Chippewa?
It's just right down from Uncle Bill's Pancakes.
Maybe it crisscrosses with Chippewa?
Yeah, it's right down from Uncle Bill's Pancakes.
It's called the Golden Hoosier, and it is such a cool place. It's very speaky vibe, I guess. Fantastic. And actually one of them is the owner, like in a canoe or something?
No, he's in an inner tube.
Inner tube, and it's actually just floating him. But when you go out to the back patio, so I'd have to say that would be our Love Local spotlight, would be Golden Hoosier today. Because you go out into the back patio, and it's kind of like you're going to a campground.
It's got like the signs like you'd see at a Missouri State Park and stuff.
And our food was fantastic.
It was really good.
It was really good. So if you haven't been to the Golden Hoosier, check it out, which you said it is Kings Highway. I can see it perfectly where it is.
Kings Highway. It's just right down. It's south of Uncle Bill's Pancakes.
Oh, okay, just right down from it. So yeah, you definitely want to check that out. The other, which it looks like Mayor Kara Spencer, sworn in, of course, in April. She's already making headlines, and actually headlines with her reform forward agenda. Have you been following up or keeping up on her?
You know what? I do have a little bit on that. And the top 5 things for that is embrace data-driven government. So in other words, she was a mathematician. So everything that she did. So it's all about the numbers and data, which is great because you want to know, it's kind of important to be smart like that as far as government. You want to know. Enhance transparency and public accountability. In other words, she wants to make sure that they take care of restoring public trust. Another thing is guarantee effective resident-focused city services. Like they really got a bad rap with. Remember when that snowstorm hit and all the frozen ice and everything? It didn't get cleared off for almost a week. I want to say.
How about the trash?
Yeah, and the potholes and everything. Just making things nice for the city, for the people who live in the city. If you build the city up, then you're going to build up people's morale, and they're going to
want to live there.
They're going to want to live there, and they're not going to want to tear it up as much. Strengthen public safety and street safety, and promote an inclusive economy and charter reform. So those
charter meaning education.
Yes,
because that's where St. Louis is lacking. Or I shouldn't act like I'm an expert. In my opinion, I shouldn't say as a spokesperson. I'm just saying in my opinion, if there were better schools. Then more, there's a lot of people that live in the city. A lot of people love to live in the city as well. They love city living. But if you have a family, you're not going to live somewhere that's not safe. And you're definitely not going to if you've got to drive forever to go to a good school. So I think, and where do you go? I don't really know that I've driven downtown and seen any type of grocery. Like, I know that they have in the Central West End, they've got a Whole Foods, which is excellent. Oh,
there's one right down there. There's one right down by the Trans World Dome. There's one. It's on the corner. I can't remember which street it's on.
It's a nice store.
Yeah. So she wants to make more affordable housing, homelessness services, and a push to modernize the city charter to reflect current needs. So.
Gosh, that'd be great. That's good. I didn't get to read up on it, so I'm glad that you did. Well, we've got our first guest that's going to be coming on. And if you want to know more about St. Louis, we're excited to introduce you to Caitlin Yager. She is an author, and her newest book that has just been released, Small Town Missouri. So I love going through small towns. And
it's one of my favorite
oh,
things
I know,
to do.
Mr. Road Trip. But it is fun to find little hidden gems and places to go. And Caitlin has that for us. So we're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back and meet Caitlin Yager with Small Town Missouri and hear what she has to tell about her adventure. All right, we'll be right back with more of In Your City Show on the Lou Information Station on demand 24/7 at louinfo.com. Be sure to check out the In Your City Show page as well. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, or vice versa, however that's supposed to be. I think I said it backwards. Like Instagram, follow Facebook, I don't know, whatever it is. Go ahead and do it, and we'd love you to subscribe to the louinfo.com channel. We'll be right back with more. hottest happy hour in STL. You have the In Your City show. I'm Kelly Lamb, Gordon Montgomery, and it is our Hot Vibes segment. But first, I want to give a big shout out to St. Louis Closet Company. Jennifer Williams, I talk about her every day, and I'm not just talking about her because she's part of our show. She's truly an amazing woman. Her energy level, her spunk, she works together with her husband, her son's on the team, and they have a fabulous team that's been with them for a long time. And what I really love is that everything is on site. So if you know you're going to order something, you know that it's going to be done there. It's not going to be coming over from China or somewhere far away. It is right in their showroom. And you know Jennifer really well, same as I do, and you always enjoy when we're hanging out with her. We love when she comes to our events, and she's so much fun to be around. But yeah, free design consultations that you can get from Jennifer and her team. They have been building and transforming homes. When I say building, not building homes, but transforming homes, whether it's the garage, closet,
in a way,
pantry.
building them on the inside,
Yeah.
the rooms on the inside.
Right.
They can totally, it'll look like it's been rebuilt.
That's true.
Yeah.
But whether it's a new home or an older home, they have been doing this for over 34 years, and they're really known for their floor-based systems that add strength and stability while giving you that seamless built-in look, which we all want. And it really makes a difference when your home is organized, when that room or whatever it might be that's making you crazy, you can't ever find anything, that they can come in there and be able to transform that to make your life easier. Every single system is custom designed, locally manufactured, and professionally installed. There are no cookie cutter pieces, which is awesome. Make a standout in your home, you know, make it your garage, which it's your favorite place to be, which I don't understand that whatsoever.
She's done some cool garages too.
Yeah, she really has. So you know what? She says go from chaos to calm, which is exactly what you'll do with St. Louis Closet Company. It's your go-to for creating that functional, beautiful space in every corner of your home. Support small, support local, and get organized the St. Louis way with St. Louis Closet Company. Go in, say hi to Jennifer. She'll love to meet you. So I'm excited now to get to introduce you to our guests. We've been wanting to know more about this book. We love going through small towns and finding new places. We love road trips. Actually, you do even more than I do.
Yes.
Road trips somehow are like 950,000 miles with you. You'd drive anywhere if you could.
And I want
You'd
to stop
drive
at
to Italy
every
and
little
like,
thing.
oh my
Look at
gosh, a
this.
big ball of yarn.
Look at this old barn. Look at
oh
this.
my
It's
gosh,
like, you know,
it's unbelievable. Barns.
You know what, barns are so cool. We'll talk about
Our
that
friends
in a minute.
stop at
We'll talk
barns.
about that with her in just a minute. But yeah.
Inside joke.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, we can't talk
mean
about
bad?
that. Bad. We're talking
Yeah.
about bad.
Okay.
So anyway, right now we're talking to Caitlin Yager. Her book is through Reedy Press, and it's the announce of the release of the newest local interest book, and that is Small Town Missouri, Legends, Lore, and Attractions in the Show Me State. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you coming by, and let's see your book there. I think, did you show the cover there, Gordon?
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. Well, first, let's get started with a little bit about you.
Yeah.
And have you written a book before?
I have not written a book before.
Wow.
This is my first book. Yeah.
So, and I get it. I same thing. Later in life, decided to write a book. So I do get that. But what inspired you to tell us a little bit about you and what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah. So I'm a St. Louisan, which I think is an interesting thing to say when I'm talking about writing about 50 small towns, as I'm not from a small town. But I have spent most of my career in nonprofit program management, and I work full-time with Missouri Humanities, and through that organization, I really work mostly with rural Missouri. So we have a program called Small Town Showcase that has really allowed me to travel throughout the state and engage with a lot of small towns in Missouri. And because of those connections I've made, because of all of the stories and the people and the places I've explored, it attracted the attention of Reedy Press, and who's the publisher of the book. And Josh Stevens, the owner, reached out to me and he said, "Hey, you're really well connected in small towns. We want to start doing a small town series. Reedy's known for doing these really great book series."
Yes.
And he wanted to start a new one about small towns in all the different states. And of course, he wanted to start with Missouri. That's his state. So we're starting with Missouri. And he said, do you know anyone that might be able to write that book? I was kind of like, Well, I've never written a book before, but if you're interested in seeing what I might be able to put together, like I think this is something, like if there's anything I could write about, I think this is what I could write about.
So it's a true collaboration between you and Reedy Press then on
It
this
is.
book then.
It is. So
Okay.
they were great. They, came up with the concept, and, for being a first-time author, it was a really great start to have somebody that says, hey, we kind of know what we want this to look like. We need you to make it pretty. We need you to actually put the words to our idea. And so, that was, where it started. And it really is a love letter to what I've spent almost 10 years, of my life, getting to know small town Missouri, and, the storytelling that I've been able to do through not just my work, but through the book is really amazing. And I love being able to share that.
I can't imagine what that's like, meeting people along the way. When you said the word storytelling, because that's what we do. We're the owner, of course, of the Chesterfield, Clayton, and St. Charles, the magazines. And we're always telling stories of everyone. And our writers get to more so a lot of times. We meet a lot of the people, but they get to sit down and really talk with these people. That must just be incredible, sitting down in a small town setting, meeting these people, and the stories must just be so different than city living or in a subdivision, so to speak.
Yeah, it is. And I think, I think what's interesting is it comes from a lot of pride of place, being proud of where you're from, being proud of where you live and what you spend your, they call it time, talent, treasure on, investing in your community and being part of your community. And that's what I hear a lot of when I talk to people who are really invested in seeing their communities succeed. Small communities don't have the tax base that big cities do. They don't have the populations. They don't have the workforce that, can help reinvest in their communities as much. So much of what keeps these small towns moving forward and progressing is the people themselves investing in their communities, being involved, volunteering, and that's what's so inspiring, and not to say that doesn't happen in big cities, it does, but it makes a bigger imprint in a small town. And I think that that's so inspiring.
I grew up in a very small town. Well, my mom did. My mom and dad grew up in a little town, which I don't know if you've heard of it, Slater, Missouri.
Heard of it, but I'm not entirely familiar.
It's close.
That's how small it is.
Yeah. Well, Steve McQueen
drive
grew up
right
in
through
Slater,
it.
Missouri. So
Oh,
there you
okay,
go. There's a good
okay.
story for you. But they have one company, a shoe company, and it employs everybody in the town. And without that town, I mean, it's sad because I remember as a little boy, I'm 64, but I remember as a little boy seeing that town, and it was it was great, it was flourishing. And then a lot of people left because there wasn't enough work, and it just it's almost like a ghost town a little bit. And it's kind of sad in a way. And you see so many towns, especially going like down 79 and seeing some of these towns like Louisiana and things like that. And you see them and you think, sometimes I wish if I was a billionaire, wouldn't it be great just to like revive these little small towns?
Come on, go ahead, tell her what you want it to be. Go ahead.
Somebody's going to steal my idea, and Michael Staenberg's going to be the guy to do it because he's going to think it's a great idea. So it's coming on with us in a little bit. I want to make TV Town.
Yeah.
I want to make where you have the Brady Bunch house you can Airbnb, or the Andy Griffith house from Mayberry, or all these Full House.
Favorite
It's
TV
a town
shows.
with all these TV towns,
Oh, that's
or
fun.
these TV houses, and you can,
Come on, that would be a destination,
It would
wouldn't
for
it?
sure.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
And
I
then
would
the
go.
town-
Would you go?
Oh yeah.
They'd have the
Yeah.
barber shop and then like Andy what was the with the police station, but
Right.
it was, what was his name? The little guy with Andy Griffith.
Barney?
Barney.
Barney Fife,
And
yeah.
you'd have all just like, and staged people or whatever that could be, at the shops, the ice cream
and they
shop.
just did something like that at Universal Studios with Back to the Future.
Oh.
They kind of did the whole town, made a town.
But you just
the town like
drive through
that.
it, though.
And
You don't
people
really
were
get to go in the
wanting to
houses
go.
or anything like, because they actually use those for staging, of course.
Yeah,
for
right.
The
Yeah,
look
they're
of the
just
show and
facades,
that.
yeah.
But yeah,
But
so
it would be cool. So anyway,
That would be
that's
very
so
cool.
how many towns is it? 22. How many different destinations, small towns, are in the book?
50.
50. Okay. Now, are you gonna? Before I know it, I don't want to get outside of this book yet, but you did 50. There's obviously probably a lot more, right? Are you
Yes.
going to do a book 2 and experience more?
I don't
I'm already putting you
have-
ahead of the book.
I don't have firm plans yet. I have ideas for other books, but this has been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And I need to take a moment to get through it all. But I would love to keep writing. I think, that was probably the most difficult part about this book. And I was joking with my husband. I had a book signing at Main Street Books in St. Charles on Saturday. And I told him like my number one like anxiety inducing thing that people do when they come up to like my book table is they start flipping through, and I'm like, oh, you know, how are you doing? That good. I'm looking to see if my town is in here.
Oh.
And I'm like, what's your town? and I've had multiple occasions where they're like, oh, my town is insert town here, Slater, and I'm like, not in the book, sorry. Like, so it's but you know it's hard because you know I think almost every day I'm like, oh, yep, that town should have been in the book, but you know I think I had to start somewhere, and you know we had a couple parameters to help us guide what would be in the book, and I think it just came down to you know I had to get it done.
Yeah.
And we knew what we had. Like you know,
that's
we had,
what I was going to ask you is how did you pick your towns?
Yeah. So Reedy Press came up with you know a population cutoff. So they said you know because like what defines a small town? What is small? And they said, well, let's look at towns that are under 25,000 people. And like to me, with all the work I've done with small towns, like 25,000 is huge.
I was going to say that seems big to me too.
And granted, in the book, I think there's only one or two that even surpass 15,000. I think Sedalia is one of them. Is like 25 or 21,000.
Slater's next to Sedalia.
Is it? Okay, perfect. And then I think Hannibal's like 17,000.
Oh,
so there's.
That's where my grandma's from.
Oh, really? Oh, Hannibal's a great town. But yeah, there's really not a lot that even get close to 25,000 that are in the book. And in fact, the town that's the smallest town in the book has 59 people that live there.
59. Which town is that?
Arrow Rock. It's the first town in the book.
Oh, Arrow Rock. They filmed Tom Sawyer there.
Oh, did
really?
they?
Yeah, in Arrow Rock. They filmed in fact, I was there.
See,
at
there's
the film.
more of that
Jodie
information
Foster.
in your head.
It's the one where Jodie Foster played the girl, and
Becky Thatcher.
And then the guy that played Tom Sawyer was the redheaded kid from Family Affair.
Oh, really?
That played Jodie.
I'm sure. Yeah, the curly little hair.
Yeah. But they were filming it, so you have to go through Arrow Rock to get to Slater on that road. So that's how I knew about it. And it's like we were actually stopped in when they were filming it. But anyway, that's
Arrow Rock's great. But yeah, 59 people, super small. But as far as narrowing it down, like we said, we started with, well, obviously 25,000 narrowed it down. So I really started, there's some that I knew were going to be in there. You got Hannibal, you got Sedalia, Herman, those kinds of communities that, you have to put in there for some, because they're great towns and everyone loves them.
Iconic, I guess, to Missouri.
Exactly.
You can't leave them out.
Right. But other than that, I really just started doing research on, different populations in Missouri, and I had a massive spreadsheet, and I kind of put the towns that would have fit under 25,000, and then just by doing research started to eliminate. It basically came down to, geography. Do I have a town in this area represented already? I wanted to make sure that, if you picked up this book and looked at the map, wherever you were in the state, you could probably reach one of these communities. I didn't want it to be too centered on any one area. And then, as I continued to do research, who had, the stories, who had the events, the attractions that would fill the pages of the book. And again, not that other towns couldn't have done that. It's, it just came down to a lot of different factors, and ultimately needing more space. So needing more space, but it was great.
What was some of the things that really stood out to you? Maybe was there a certain town that had this that you're like, oh wow, this is amazing, or another town had that, and did each one of them, were the people really unique and different depending on what town you're in?
I think it depends. Missouri is such an interesting state. We have, if you've done as much traveling in Missouri as I have, you've noticed that different parts of the state look like you're in a completely different, almost country. You get down into the Ozarks and it's mountainous and it's these beautiful, lush, green rolling hills. You go north though, and it's almost like you're in the plains. And, you go through the river valleys. It's just, you can go all these different places in Missouri and be someplace completely different. So I think there's a lot of geographic, pieces of Missouri that kind of affect the culture of the area, rivers and mountains and plains. And, but I think, kind of broadly, what I think surprised me the most was no one story or like person in particular, but I was just reaffirmed at the importance of this book, because I realized that, if you look in the book, there's a little circle at the beginning of each town that says what the population is.
Okay.
And that population you might see that and have some preconceived notions of what that community might have to offer. You'd think, oh, Arrow Rock only has 59 people. What could they possibly have to offer.
I don't know, but they know everything about everybody.
I'm sure they do. But that the population size, the more research I did, it had it indicated nothing about what that town had to offer. You know, Arrow Rock is very well known for their Lyceum Theater, putting on these incredibly high quality theater productions, and it attracts people from all over. And their preservation efforts in their buildings, in their community, started with the establishment of the Friends of Arrow Rock organization that was founded back in the 1950s. And to this day, that organization has over 800 members. And the town is only 59 people that live there. So I think that's just a testament to, you know, there's something about this town worth investing in and worth, you know, preserving. And the whole town is actually a National Historic Landmark now. So, you know, I think it was surprising, but also it really, like I said, reaffirmed the need to really get these stories out there, to know that, you know, we can't just judge a community based on how many people live there, that, you know, there's so much effort that's put into, you know, making these towns a desirable place to live, to work, to visit, that, you know, you never know what you might find when you're there. There are communities that might have 1,500 people that have more amenities than a town 5 times its size. So I think it's all about, you know, being willing to go in and really explore.
Now, I threw up Excelsior Springs a couple times for you because we were talking about it.
We've actually been there.
And it also showed what you were talking about. The population's, what, 10,000 something right
about.
there? And we've been there, and it's got some fascinating stories.
It
Just
does.
Taking you back with the springs. Tell us a little bit about
In fact,
that.
that's supposed to be haunted, that room right there.
Yeah, so that I believe was it's either part of the spa or the Elms Hotel, that old postcard. But Excelsior Springs was one of those kind of quintessential turn of the century spa towns. When you think of, you know, when people discovered thermal springs, they were like, oh my gosh, everybody loves a thermal spring. They created these big spa hotels, spa experiences, healing, you know, treatments and things using the thermal waters. So Excelsior Springs was one of those towns that kind of, you know, came up around, you know, using the springs as a tourist destination. Beautiful old stone hotel called the Elms Hotel. Apparently, yes, very much haunted. But what is it?
He was looking for ghosts too.
Oh yeah, of course. And Harry S. Truman spent his inauguration night there, or election night, not
Election
inauguration.
night was the night that he found out he actually won.
Yes,
He didn't
yes,
think he was
election
going
night
to.
at the Elms Hotel in Excelsior Springs. But they also got a great downtown, you know, in addition to just having kind of those pieces of history that are an homage to what really got them going. So like the Elms Hotel, which is still a really beautiful hotel and spa that you could stay at. They've got the Hall of Waters, which if you go in there, they spent a lot of time rehabbing that. There's a lot of office space in there now, but they've also got this beautiful, it's called, I think there's a picture in it on one of the pages, it's called like the Water Bar. Like think of a bar, but it's this beautiful like Art Deco style bar that, you know, had the thermal water available, the spring water available on tap. And just, you know, great shops and great downtown, and just, you know, it's very reminiscent of, you know, if people have been to Hot Springs or Eureka Springs, Arkansas, it's got that very similar vibe. It's a beautiful town.
We went to the drive-in there.
Oh, yeah?
So when we stayed,
yeah.
we're like, let's do something different.
right
We've never
outside.
done,
Yeah.
obviously, been to a drive-in together, and went, and I think Wonder Woman was playing, wasn't it, on the
nice.
screen
Yeah.
when we went? But it was so much fun going to a drive-in. But isn't it also a story that Al Capone, aren't there tunnels that go from the hotel to one of the
There's a
restaurants
little bar.
that
Did you see
Yeah.
the little bar
I don't
by
know
the
if I've
Elms
been there.
Hotel?
down the street
It's
from
a
them?
barbecue place. It's right next to the Elms Hotel. And, well, they told us this.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
don't know how true it is, right?
Maybe, yeah.
But
yeah.
really,
love
Al
gossip.
Capone stayed in the room that faced the front, so he could see the cops coming. But there was a tunnel that went from the hotel over to, it's a barbecue place now, but it used to be a bar, like a speakeasy bar. And he would go over there and to get away, or he could be hanging out at the bar and come back to the hotel underneath this
Okay.
tunnel.
Going to the
But
tunnel.
yeah.
Everyone's got a story.
Yeah.
they?
Oh, I'm
Usually,
sure.
I feel like everyone's got like a Jesse James story, but I feel like Al Capone
Right,
is also
or
in there.
everybody's
Like,
related to Daniel Boone.
right, exactly.
Probably a lot in that arrow, 59 people.
say.
You got to go outside the city to, or
The
the
thing
town
about
to.
small towns now, I'm going to tell you this because my mom and dad shared the same last name, but we're not related. So, and don't look at me like I'm from Arkansas. But they shared the same last name, did all the tests. They were not related. But that's crazy because in a small town like that, you would think, okay.
And in classroom, the teacher would say, "And your last name, and what is your
Or
mom's
no,
last name?"
Write down your mom's maiden name. I always had to go back and say, that is my mom's
gosh.
maiden
They
name.
didn't believe
Really?
them. What about food? What about pies and food? It always seems like in small towns, they have the best places, diners, and places to eat, and just, you know, unique things on the menu that are
I think it depends on what you're looking for. So, like if you want a really good burger, I guess you'd call it a chain, but there's only a few locations and they're right around the same area. So just multiple locations, I guess you could say. It's called Rich's Famous Burgers. You might have seen signs going down like Highway 44 towards Rolla.
Okay.
But there's locations in St. James, and I believe Steelville is the other one.
Okay.
And then maybe Sullivan. There's a third one, like somewhere along Highway 44. I don't remember which one, but Rich's Famous Burgers, really great milkshakes. Pizza, I think the pizza at, it's called Brooklyn Pizza in Fulton. New York style pizza, very, very good. And that's right there in downtown Fulton in the Brick District. Pie, I mean, everybody knows the Blue Owl in Kimmswick for the Levy High apple pie. I mean, it's famous for a reason.
We brought one home. Yeah, it's incredible.
And then as far as like little unique treats, in the town of Marceline, Missouri, which is known throughout the world as the hometown of Walt Disney.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, Walt Disney in Marceline, Missouri. But they have a diner called Ma Vic's, and they have this dessert that was invented decades ago. It's called the Dusty Miller. It's vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce, and then it's sprinkled with malt powder.
Oh my God, he'd be all
yeah, it was very, very good.
That.
So yeah, tons of little fun things like that all over.
Yeah, how much fun is that? And then, with all these small towns, sorry to hit the guitar, is there one that just stands out to you that just really just warmed your heart or left you in goosebumps or you want to go back?
Oh gosh, a lot.
Be careful now because everybody's going to come back and say,
I know.
my town.
See, I can't give favorites. But people ask me this and I say, I think it depends on what you're looking for. You know, I really love the towns in southeastern Missouri. Especially,
and why is that?
I think it's beautiful down there. I think, not just, deep southeast Missouri. I'm talking like, look around like the Current River, look at Doniphan, look at Eminence, Van Buren, Perryville. All of those in that area are just gorgeous communities. They've got the rolling hills. It's like kind of right there at the beginning of the Ozarks in Missouri. The Current River is a beautiful place to float or to camp. And just really interesting stories. It's really old area of Missouri. If you think of places like St. Genevieve, first European settlement west of the Mississippi River, permanent European settlement west of the Mississippi River, you can't get much more historic than that. And those just have such interesting stories and, a beautiful place to experience. If you're looking for some place that's nearby, that you just want to hop over a little bit, going out west to Augusta, Herman, Marthasville, people know them as the places where the wineries are.
Yes.
but there's so many other great little museums, and the Katy Trail is out that way. And you could hop on the Katy Trail and hop on any of those little towns and you'd have a great experience. And then Pacific, Missouri, 25 minutes away. People might not think of Pacific as anything much other than a sort of like suburb of St. Louis, but it really isn't. It's kind of landlocked. What I learned while I was there is that, urban sprawl hasn't really reached Pacific, even though it's that close, because it's buffered by Shaw Nature Reserve and the Merrimack River and other state parks down there that people can't really get to it. People can't really encroach on it. So it has this own little bubble of this small town community that even though you can be at the Arch in 25 to 30 minutes, it feels like you're in any other small kind of secluded rural Missouri town. And it's just got great people, great events. I'll actually be in Pacific this weekend for their first Route 66 barbecue festival.
Oh, fun.
So they're just, they've got a lot of really great ways that they're keeping their small town identity, even though they're so close to a lot of big city amenities. So that's been a really fun one to explore too.
Is there one that stands out to you that would be the best little town to go during the holiday? That has that Christmas vibe, that old town feel?
So Perryville, Missouri does a country Christmas church tour. So they have, Perryville has a lot of religious history. They've got the Shrine of the Miraculous Medal down there. They've got a few 19th century stone churches. It's just beautiful down there. A lot of really beautiful small towns in and around Perry County. But Perryville hosts a country Christmas church Christmas Country Church Tour, I think is what it is.
Say that 3 times.
And they're all decorated, and they all have different, like, nativity scenes that are all decorated, and you could go and tour around, and it's the
Gordon's
holiday
taking
time.
avid notes here.
Yep.
I'm going to be doing a lot of road trips.
So
that
would be a good one to hit. And Perryville's only about an hour and 15, hour and a half away down Highway 55. But so many of these have great little Christmas festivals. There's nothing more amazingly picturesque than imagining these small Main Street districts and downtown squares decked out for the holidays. It really is amazing. So, I mean, I honestly think you could probably pick any of these communities and they'd have a stellar Christmas time vibe to them.
Yeah, just the way they do it. Now, is Metropolis, or do you have Main Street St. Charles, even though, I mean, that's down the street from us, but are either of those made your book?
Nope. So St. Charles is too big.
Okay.
So you'd think that St. Charles, like Main Street,
I guess I
seems
was
like
just
it's a
thinking of
small
Main Street,
town.
yeah.
I mean, still a beautiful Main
St.
Street,
Charles
but yeah,
is too
big.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the cutoff? 29,000 or
25.
25,000.
Yep.
And the Metropolis, that's not in there. I always think my mom grew up in Metropolis, and it was Metropolis, Superman, kind of a big deal. So I didn't know
So I
that
got to
made it.
ask this because I love. Is there any of these places that had like the old time soda shops in them?
Oh yeah, plenty.
One that stood out
Let's
to you.
think. Where was I? Well, actually, so Pacific, I think, is trying to revitalize theirs. They had one, and I think they're bringing it back. Ma Vic's was very similar vibe to that, kind of the old school diner where you can get ice cream and things like that. I can't. They're all running together. They all had like the old school, like someone always has like an old school diner, and someone always has like the bar where you can get a dessert or something.
Or the drugstores, because the drugstores used to have like
Yeah.
the soda
Had
fountains in the
smell too
drugstore.
when you go in.
Yeah.
Mount Vernon, that's
There's actually-
I'm sorry, Hannibal. That's such a cool.
Yeah,
cool town to
Hannibal,
go
and
through.
Hannibal's in the book. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, actually there is a really cool ice cream shop in Hannibal that I've been to. I really like that one.
What were we going to
Did
ask?
you happen to
Yeah.
go through Fayette?
I've been through Fayette, but I have not.
There
it's
is
not
a
in the book.
Rexall drugstore right there that looks
okay.
like it is pristine
Really?
for its era, and they do have a soda shop in there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a working soda shop, but it still looks like it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's not working soda shops, I know a lot of places that have like taken it and kept the original like
Look to it,
shelves
yeah.
and bar, but it might not be still a soda fountain, but they've kept they've turned it into a general store or a visitor center. In Pacific, their visitor center used to be an old hotel, and they've converted it into their visitor center. So I think, you think of old-fashioned things like a soda fountain or a candy store, drugstore. I think what a lot of these communities have done a really good job of is maintaining their historic buildings to keep that charm, but being imaginative with what they can use the space for. Because so many of these towns are built around their historic districts or their town squares, their main streets. And, without that, they don't have a town center, a community gathering space. And I think there's been a lot of work, through organizations like Missouri Main Street, through the state historic preservation offices, through chambers of commerce that have really helped maintain those areas. And, back, I think in like the 60s, 70s, a lot of people would vinyl over them and, cover the brick and, redo the windows. And I think I've seen a lot of places where they're trying to take all that off and expose the original facades to help really keep that idyllic, quintessential small town atmosphere. It's been really cool to see.
Well, Caitlin Yager, we appreciate you so much coming in and be able to spend some time talking about your book, which is the Small Town Missouri. I want to make sure I said that correctly. And you can get that where, and you have some book signings coming up. I know we're running out of town right now. Right out of town. What time? What is the website?
You can get it at readypress.com or wherever books are sold. It's kind of everywhere right now.
And find out about your book signings as well coming up.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, In Your City show, we're coming back. We've got Michael Staenberg with us. Going to find out what's going on here in St. Louis with him because he does it all. We'll be back with more right here on thelouinfo.com.
You're in charge. That's making me nervous.
It's 5:06, not sick, but 6, right here in the In Your City Show studio at the Lou Information Station on louinfo.com, and of course the new KLIS on 590 AM if you're in your car and listening to the radio. I want to tell you first, before we get started with our hot seat in your city, is Otto Orthodontics. If you've not met Gina Otto, you are missing out. Incredible woman, incredible team, works together with her husband, and just fabulous team with their location in Creve Coeur, De Pere, Fenton, St. Peters, and Wentzville. They offer interest-free payment plans to make it stress-free and easier on you. The greatest thing I love right now is that if you mention the In Your City Show, you are going to get $1,000 off your treatment. $1,000 off. All you need to do is mention In Your City Show. Dr. Otto has earned a ton of A-list and local awards because of her patience, and they trust her. I mean, they love her. They want to come back and more, and maybe the kids love the candy machines that are inside the door. The candy wall at the orthodontist. You can't beat that, right? So don't wait. Visit OttoOrtho.com. Book your free consultation. Let Dr. Otto help you smile with confidence. Definitely makes a difference. So, all right, here we go. We got a great guest with us right now. Anxious to introduce you to Michael Staenberg. He now resides in Clayton, but wow, I mean, you came from Omaha, Nebraska, is that right?
That's correct.
And from the modest means. I loved finding out that, you know, as a young little whippersnapper, you were bagging groceries, getting your day going.
It was the best job I ever had, because when
Really?
you bag groceries back then, you take them out. They had those nice paper bags, and I learned that if you just put them in the back seat and you just stood there, and people look like, they always had change back then.
Oh, yeah.
This
You're
was
waiting
all
for that
cash.
tip.
And I was just sitting there, and I wouldn't leave. So the funny story was, they said, well, you've done such a great job, we want to promote you to face the vegetables.
Face
and I
the
said,
vegetables.
well, you're going to pay me $1 an hour, or you're paying me 25 cents to bag groceries, and I'm making $3 an hour. Why would I move? Well, there's opportunity. I didn't take that job.
You won the tips.
I stayed bagging groceries.
That's
made more
incredible.
money.
Yeah, I did.
So what was the name of the grocery store?
Hinky Dinky.
Are you
Hinky
kidding me?
dinky.
Hinky Dinky.
Where was Hinky Dinky?
In Omaha,
Nebraska.
Nebraska. And it was owned by the Newman family. And they were bought out by J.C. Penney's in 1969, 1970. I was long past, bagging
I
groceries.
thought you were going
by
to tell me
then.
they were bought out by Piggly Wiggly.
No, I wish they were.
Remember that?
But they were. Yeah, I do remember. But it was Hinky Dinky was the name of the
Hinky?
grocery store.
There's where you
I
started
worked
your
in the
career.
grocery store as well as a bagger. Got promoted to do meat porter as a meat porter.
You missed out on
in
the tips
back.
then.
I was at Schnucks.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll never forget it. It was when I found out Elvis died, and the grocery store was silent because they announced it over the
Well,
But
you
anyway,
know.
He's not. I've heard he's alive still.
Yeah,
He's still
still
alive.
is.
You didn't get the
And only
news.
in Memphis.
Only in Memphis,
Only in
you can
Memphis.
see him. So you went on, of course, got into economics and finance, which hence why you are incredibly busy throughout everywhere with your philanthropical means, the places that you're opening. So you co-founded THF Realty in 1991. Is that kind of like where you started, hey, I need to get into shopping center, I need to do this?
No, it started in 1976. I passed up law school. I was going to go to Hastings. I then passed up working for the May Company in L.A., and they were going to pay me $2,000 a month. And then I had a job offer from Gulf Oil. You remember Gulf Oil?
yes, I do.
That's no longer in existence. That offered me $2,200 a month. Now this is 1976, and I went and sold some mobile home park sites with my college roommate, and we sold 3 like right off the bat. And I was telling my mom, and she says, "Well, your dad had a 5th cousin, and my dad died when I was early in my teenage years." And I said, so I called the guy. He was in Kansas City, and I said, I'd like to come work for you. I had hair down to here. And he looked at me. He looked at me. He looked at me, and I looked at him, and he says, "You're not smart enough." So now I'm thinking, I got all straight A's at college, except 2 C's in English 101 and English 102. What do you tell me? I'm not smart enough.
Your long hair.
And he said, "Okay, I'm going to give you a chance. I'll see you June 1st." I showed up May 15th. You can never be too early. And he looked at me and he said, okay. He said, what are you doing this afternoon? I said, nothing, sir. He says, come with me. We go to the barber shop. And he does a number 3. All my hair.
He
Somebody in the
cut your
military?
hair.
Yeah, I know. And I said, he said, welcome to the real estate business. I said, Irv, thank you for the opportunity. And that's how I got. So I started in 1976. I built my first shopping center in 1979. And I had the chance to meet Sam Walton, Ray Kroc. I've met a lot of.
Met them all.
I met them all.
So I got to ask you then. So in your hiring process, has long hair ever kept? If someone came in and wanted a job, has that been something that you've thought about?
No, I just, if they're overdressed, it makes me nervous. And if they tell me, and also, really overdressed, but not too casual, but not, and the thing about hiring is if I'm 50% right, I'm a happy guy. You don't know. I always ask for the 90-day money-back guarantee. I hire everybody that way. If you don't like me after 90 days, it's okay. And if I don't like you after 90 days, it's okay. But you don't know. Everybody interviews well.
You never know.
You just don't know.
Things always look good on paper, but maybe not so much in
that's
in
what I
real
tell
life.
you. It looked good on paper, but in reality, it didn't quite work.
So your experience in going from bagger to, getting your hair cut off, what really is the story behind you that has led you to where you are now? I mean, the Staenberg Family Foundation, $100 million you have raised for community causes. Who can say that?
Actually, it's a little more than that.
Is it more than that now?
Yeah, I've given away $200 million in cash.
Oh my gosh.
And I've been involved in $1 billion of projects and help raise, which I'm really proud of. How did I get there? It was because of my dad. It's, he taught me how important philanthropic things were. Show up on time, always be a man of your word. The basic principles, what he taught me. And unfortunately, he died. We were watching Walt Disney when I was 13 years old. Right at 6:15, first commercial. We turned over and he had died of a heart attack.
You inspire me for my own grandsons who have recently lost their dad at 12 and going to be 8. And I think, you know what? Nothing can hold you back if you...
You got a choice. You can quit or you can get off the floor, get off the curb and rise to the occasion. And sure, people say, what do you think? And my siblings have had a tough time. I just have a different mindset that I can compartmentalize the different things, and that's good or bad. If you want an emotional cry from me, I'm the wrong guy. but I'm just lucky. People say, how do you do this? And I say, I don't know. How did Paul McCartney write those words to the songs? I don't know. I can drive down any street. I was going to tell you, you asked me about why this place is famous.
Yes.
Okay?
And so that they weren't listening earlier, and you're talking about the strip mall here where the radio station is, okay?
Kenny Rosenthal started St. Louis Bread here. This was his location, right where you are.
Really?
This was the first location he ever developed that became Panera
And grew
Bread.
out of it, I guess.
Wow.
This right here, right next door, and this open area was here, and St. Louis Bread started right next door.
I wish he was still here right now.
I do too. Nothing against Pasta House.
Well, now they're across the street,
Right,
new
you didn't
building.
even know that.
No, I did not know that.
He just passed away. He was a friend of mine, and so that's why it's a famous place. I moved here in 1983, and I think he opened a little earlier, but I remember all that. I can drive down any street in America and tell you what's there 30 years ago.
So when you say you met Sam Walton and
Ray Kroc.
what was that like? Was that a true sit down where you got to talk to them? Did you find out a
I
little
was
bit about them?
I was just persistent, trying to figure out how to do some Walmart deals, some McDonald's deals. In 1979, I was absolutely flat broke, making $2,290 waiting tables. I've been in the real estate business. And one crazy Sunday morning, I got up and looked at the Yellow Pages. A lot of people are going to say, "What are the Yellow Pages?"
Yeah.
Actually, I just got one in the. We just got one in the mail the other day. It's not as thick as it used to be.
No. These were like.
You use those to put your kid on the seat so he can eat dinner.
And so I looked in the Yellow Pages, and I was looking at this, and I said, "McDonald's has 8 locations. Taco Bell had 1, Burger King had 1." So I said, Monday morning, I get up and I call Chicago and I said, I'd like to talk to the head of real estate. Well, it happens to be in St. Louis. And I said, okay. I called down and I said, I'd like to talk to the head of real estate. This is H. Webb Blesley. It sounded like Robin Williams. Exactly. So he says to me, sir, let me ask you a question. How many restaurant deals have you ever done? I said, none. Well, at least you can tell the truth. And he says, what are you doing for lunch? Now, this is 8 o'clock in Kansas City. And I said, nothing. He says, I'll see you at 12:30 and don't be late. Now, I've never been to St. Louis in my life. Okay, don't be late. There's no GPS, there's nothing. I'm in Kansas City, I'm running. And they were at 270 and Manchester, the Safety Federal building, and that white building that's still there. And at 12:25 is like this. Well, at least you can show up on time. Wow. So we go to McDonald's, and I tell him I'm from Omaha, and he says, okay, I'm going to send you to Red Oak, Iowa. I've been trying to find a site. He didn't tell me he'd been for 2 years. I got a deal done. He says, well, now, you know what? You've done a nice job. You're my exclusive broker for Omaha, Nebraska. I'm 23 years old. And I come up with this great idea about putting a McDonald's on a Walmart pad. And I found out Walmart owned the store. And I was persistent, went down to Bentonville and met Sam Walton.
Oh my gosh.
And I became a developer of Walmart stores. And I met a lot of people. I met Stan Kroenke that way, who I started THF with to have fun. So it's been I've had such a career being at the right place, but understanding what it takes. The postman does ring twice. You just got to remember to open the door.
Right.
And so I've been really lucky. I've met a lot of mentors, and I've had people who've taken really an interest in me.
Lucky, or do you think you had the tenacity and the
mentality,
to be persistent?
Well, I'm very persistent, but I think lucky when because I did, how do you get the opportunity to meet these people? You have to have some luck. And every day I meet somebody interesting.
Yes, isn't that
amazing? I learn something every single day because I'm always thinking about what's next.
You say all these opportunities came to you, and they came the way they did. Did it ever seem like time was just going so fast you couldn't catch up with what you were learning?
Early on, no. So I've been lucky to have a lot of mentors in my life. Really lucky. So there was a guy named Gray Turner. So I'm in this business, and my hair's growing back. And he says to me one day, he says, I want to come to a meeting with you because you're not getting there. We know you're really smart. And he looked at me, and what he said was, I'm not going to say on air, but he said,
thank you.
He said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Shut up. Shut up. Thank God he told me that because I was always talking. I was always trying to sell. He says, you're a great salesman. Shut up. And from that moment on, I got a lot of accounts.
Really?
Yeah.
Stuck with you. And I've heard that saying before. I need to shut up a lot of times too.
Well, that's okay. But now I can't shut up.
80-20 rule, right?
Yeah, but, it's a whole different thing. But, I've had great people along my life. I probably have 60 to 70 unbelievable stories. And I've been thinking about doing a podcast just on each one of them. And I've been writing them down. And then I've been also thinking about 100 greatest songs I want to be remembered by.
I love it. I want to hear 5 of them.
Okay. Sounds of Silence. At the end, Sounds of Silence. I shot the sheriff. Knocking on heaven's door. Neil Young, Old Man. I've been working on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you going to karaoke at the end of your podcast
no,
and sing?
I'm good. I can't sing.
This guy can't.
I really think about all that stuff, and what resonates with me.
Yeah.
I think it's things like that. That's my little hobby now.
So you have another hobby. You have art. You're really into art.
I am.
So how has that played in your life with the artistic side of everything? Did you feel like having that eye for art, do you feel like that's played a part in what you've designed and what you've built?
Absolutely. I drive everybody crazy. I've been known to tear buildings down after I built them. It's too high. It doesn't look right. That's before I started collecting art. So I like art a lot. I really do. I have about 5,000 pieces now. And I put them in all our developments. And the most thing I'm really proud about is when I buy art, I tell the artist, I'm going to copy it. It's like burning a CD. I can make them look like original pieces. I'm never going to sell them. So in 20 different buildings of nonprofits, I've put art in. Art evokes emotion. Now, do I like every piece? Not really. They ask me what my favorite piece is. It's like my kids. I have 3 girls. Depends on what day it is. Who I like, I just got off the phone before I got here, and one of my daughters was screaming at me. I said, okay, thank you. You can't give me a date.
You're not top of the chain right now.
No, I wasn't on the top of the chain.
Your trust just got changed.
Well, no, I got the granddaughter's birthday, and Dad. I said, you know what? We'll figure this out. Just give me till tomorrow. The birthday's not for 2 more weeks, for God's sakes. And she's only 9 years old. She's not.
Oh my
Well,
God.
that's girls. So
Yeah.
you have all girls?
I do, 3
Three
girls.
girls.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And now you have your friend for 10 years.
Yes, yeah.
We were talking before the show. We're like, so what do you call somebody when you're dating? Like, my girlfriend, my boyfriend. When you're of an older age, you hate saying that. It's like, you're so happy. You shouldn't, what you need to do is get engaged.
No. Not good. Not good.
Well, that was
Because
quick.
then you can say,
Well, thank you.
you can
Tell us
say
second
the,
half
elo-
of
If she's watching this,
you
no.
can
The
say
answer
the
is no.
eloquent word of my fiance.
Right, I
See,
understand.
instead of my lady, my guy, my
understand.
girlfriend.
I
So,
understand, so-
we think he should be engaged.
Thank
there we
you.
go.
Okay, good.
Just ruined everything.
Okay, that's good.
Right
I
now.
appreciate that. Thank you.
So you said the words, and you're talking about your art and the buildings that you build, but you say you believe in building beyond bricks. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's the nuances. Why do people like coming? What do they see that, they like nicely lit places. They like user-friendly places. They like a lot of parking. They like free parking. They like to be able to get in and out. They like nice landscaping, but not too much up front. The perimeter should be well done because people don't want to be bothered by the landscaping next to the buildings.
Yeah.
So these are things I've learned. If it's below grade, people don't like going below grade. Like the Chesterfield Commons, the finished floor of, let's say, the Walmart out there is 12 feet below Chesterfield Airport Road. But I built the facade an extra 10 foot higher. You don't know that. And you have to think about it. This is the kind of stuff I think about all the time. And the
Parking
walkability
is so important. It is so
I know,
important.
and I
A lot of
think
people
about
leave that out.
And I really do. And I drive everybody crazy.
Well, you know what? So we live in Newtown in St. Charles.
Oh,
You're
I
familiar?
know, sure.
Yeah. And so
Disneyland recreated.
I know. And they have
Live
all
on
these plans
vacation.
coming out with all these new things, right? They say, we're going to build this, we're going to build this, we're going to build this, we're going to build this.
Sadly,
and I
no
said,
parking.
well, that's great. But we have a parking problem right now. Where are all these people going to park? They're going to come to your facilities, and where are they going to go?
Which
And
distracts
he goes,
traffic.
oh, it's a golf cart community. They'll, like, you guys already lost. So there you go. I'm with you 100%.
I know.
So obviously the district is fabulous. Is that one of your, something that you've fallen in love with, and with all the things that you've done? And then I want to know about the secret and development of Chesterfield Mall, which was a shop that I used to walk around all the time.
I
that
get
is now
more
gone.
people, it's interesting, I walk around and a lot of people come up and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, don't you remember me?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, I really don't.
At least you say it.
And I don't mean that,
Right.
I just give it the,
hard to.
hey you.
No, I don't do. I just say, I'm honest. I say,
Yeah.
I just don't remember who you are. Can you tell me who you are? And I saw someone on Saturday, and she's lost 100 pounds, and
Well,
she
that would be a
says,
little hard.
you didn't recognize me. I said, Lauren, I don't think I did. I mean, can you take your glasses off, so your shade glasses, and I still don't recognize you. I was, but.
There's something to be said about recognizing someone because you see them in a certain environment all the time, but when you see them out of that environment, it can be
Right.
hard.
Right. And
But
so,
back to my question.
no, I'm going to answer that. I haven't forgotten. I have an attention
Keep in
span
there.
of 30 seconds, so that was only 28 ago.
There we go.
But I built this. I didn't know what I was going to do with the outlet center. I got it from Billy and Bobby Tubman. That's a whole different story. It's too long to go into. And this is before entertainment became something. And I said, you know what? I'm going to build a music venue. As I was saying, I like music. And I'm looking around, and I looked at, I've been down to Joe's pageant, Edward's pageant, and the Stiefel. There's really nothing good here. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. So I call a couple people, and they say it's the dumbest effing thing I've ever thought of. I said, okay. So I flew around the country and looked at 20 to 30 venues. And our venue in Chesterfield is the #1 venue in America.
We can honestly say
We were there.
We were there, and we loved it. We loved the way the
Saw
bars
America.
were set up. We loved the intimacy of it, not being too big. Our chairs were comfortable. We had space. I wasn't sitting.
First class seating, everything.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh,
people
was it
yelled at
seeing?
me. They said, well, because you're going to lose 200 seats upstairs. Okay, that's okay. We can charge more. We're going to get more drinks. this is my money. Just build what I tell you.
Exactly.
We love it.
And you know, I know somebody said to me the other day, well, what's coming up at the factory? Well, we're going to have 173 shows.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't keep track of everything.
Yeah.
And someone
I'm going
said-
October
You're going,
10th
I was
to
gonna
see Dream
say.
Theater.
Oh, okay, good. I don't know if I'm going to be, you know, but I
And we
used-
got the seats, the table seats.
Oh,
which
you-
is-
oh, you like
and I
that?
love that idea.
Yeah, that was an idea I came up with that
Yeah.
nobody else has done. And so, you know, and then I did the hub, and, you know, it's taken 3 years to program it because it's difficult to understand what you don't know until you do it.
Yeah.
And everybody's so interested in doing everything at once. Why not let it come to you? Why don't you just let it, you know? And I have the patience to do that. And I really, you know, I'm glad that I did it. And, you know, I'm still not done. You know, we're 3 years in, and what works on Monday night doesn't work so well. The biggest thing is the weather.
Oh,
That-
sure.
Isn't it?
Check that. And you know what else is the biggest thing? Sports. After that, you can have the Rolling Stones out there. You'd get a lot. You know, so we had Goose the other night for 2 nights. We had a fantastic cover band. It was great. But if you put them on a Monday night without Goose, nobody's showing up because people don't go out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's good.
On. But isn't it funny how we went from changed Northwest Plaza? Remember that mall? Were you
Oh, I
here
do.
then?
Oh, I was.
And they changed that to, it was outside.
Right.
Changed it to an inside mall, of course. And I don't know even if anything's there.
It is.
and
There's the county's
then,
there. The county has
Crestwood
their
was the
offices
same
there.
way. They did
Yeah.
the same thing.
And then Chesterfield Mall and Mid Rivers opens up, and these indoor malls, which are, you know, which obviously Chesterfield Mall's not there now. Now it's back to outdoor. Everybody wants to be outside, which it is beautiful. I mean, we love going
courts,
up to the
center,
district
yeah.
and
Okay.
the area outside we can sit. Went to the new Napoli. I mean, it's just you keep growing though. It does keep changing. Your art gallery was not open, so we were not able to.
Anytime, I'll give you a private tour. There's nothing
Love
for
that.
sale.
Nothing for sale.
That's
Just
all
get
right.
to
I'd
look
love
at
to
it and
see it.
wish,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Wishful thinking.
Right.
So it's fabulous. If you've not been out to the district, you're missing out. It's just it's got a little bit of everything. We definitely want to try out the game show. I think that'd be what a great way to have your team, you know, that works for you to go out there and play Family Feud or
You know,
something
we have
like
a lot
that.
of new things coming. We have Oaxaca. It's a Mexican restaurant out of from Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're coming. We're going to have indoor pickleball.
Oh my gosh, that's the rage, isn't it?
You know, we're going to have a comedy club that we're going to put out there. You know, a lot of different things. We have, I forget the name of the kids deal. It's for kids. I don't.
The
for
fact that you
underage.
remembered any of that with all that you do is quite astonishing.
You know, I
so.
can't, it's called Kidsy something. I don't know. But, you know,
Okay.
but I mean, it's coming along. But I've been very concerned about having local people, local restaurants. You don't see any chains out there.
No,
All local.
I love that.
And that's what I wanted. You know, I always tell people, I live locally, I enjoy locally, I give locally. You know, you got to live where you. And I like the region, and that's really what I'm trying to do. And that's what I've been trying to do. And even when we do downtown Chesterfield,
That's what Tell me a little about
I'm
this.
going to. I'm helping you. I'm the interviewer. You
Thank
just
you.
You just didn't know that today.
This is wonderful.
I'm showing a little bit of it right now on the screen.
Oh, look
okay,
at that.
Oh, perfect. Well,
Wow.
you know, so we just have the new tagline. I'm going to throw it out and see if
Okay.
everybody. We haven't put it in
See if it
press yet.
sticks?
Yeah, we just said redefining the region.
Defining the region.
Downtown Chesterfield, redefining the region.
Well, that's wonderful. That's
And so this is
Wonderful.
interesting because that picture you're showing
I'll
right
go
there.
back
Go
to
back to that picture, the park. The whole thing is centered around a 3.5 acre park. So everything will face the park. And that's the activation. We're going to have a stage. We're going to have a beer garden. But you see all the sidewalks are 16-foot sidewalks. So you can have an art fair. You can have a farmer's market. You can, on the either ends, you can have food trucks. So we really want to activate it. So when I was doing this, everybody kept saying, that's dumb, stupid. I said, okay, it's my money. I'm the
Once
architect.
again.
Once again.
Let me remind you of
and
something.
finally, the third architect understood after I got rid of the first two. I said, you're not listening. Now, guys, you're just
Third
not
one was
listening.
smart.
You know, the third one is smart. And, you know, it's kind of something different. We're going to ring it with retail. We're going to redevelop the Macy's building. The first floor is going to be retail. Second and third are going to be offices. We'll have a couple thousand residential units. That can be condos, senior living.
so work, living, and play. Everything
Well,
will be
it's
there.
not that. You know what? I think it's more about how to get more what's that, more community, more. And I'm trying to get local people, and I have a gym that's a local gym that wants to go there. I have local restaurants that are lined up now, and I'm trying to create something that's, and when I say redefining the region, I want to change the region. I believe in St. Louis. I could live anywhere in the United States, and I like to live here. Nice. And I think it's important, and I think the region needs a new uplift. You know, Chesterfield with the valley and everything going on, this can be the center point. And I stole the name Downtown Chesterfield. I didn't steal it. Lou Sachs, who was out there in the early 70s, that was his dream. And he helped me at Chesterfield Commons. So in honor of him, I went to the family and got to use the name Downtown Chesterfield.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
And not a mixed use. It's truly. So if you think we have 110 acres, it's as large as Clayton. Get rid of Shaw Park, okay, for a
Wow.
second. It's as big as Clayton, Missouri.
How excited are you about this?
I am. And you know, people say you're going to move. No, I'm staying in Clayton. I've been there 40 years. I'm not moving.
It's not that far
I might
of a
have an
drive.
apartment because
There you go.
Because you
Yeah.
may have a couple drinks at the factory. You don't want to drive very far.
No.
And but no, I really think it's going to change the dynamics. And
Oh my gosh.
It's, as I call it, it's the
500%.
third leg of the stool. Downtown, Clayton, and now Chesterfield.
Right. Now, is there a completion date you think might happen?
Yeah, I do know. I do. You know, before 6 months ago, I couldn't have told you. So the mall's now demolished. I'm really proud of the fact that we recycled 95% of all the material at the mall.
Really?
Nobody does that.
No,
That is
absolutely not.
No, so we're grinding up the asphalt, the concrete, took the steel, sold that, redid all the HVAC, all the electric. We had a couple thieves help us take some stuff out. Copper. Oh, God forbid.
Oh, gosh.
God forbid anybody, you know. And so we've done that. We're done. July 1st, we start the grading. And included in the grading is all the roads, the lights, the signage, the park, all utilities. And that should take 16 to 18 months. You know, of course, anything could happen. We're really not affected by the tariffs on the stuff that I'm doing now. And again, it's all local people. You know, Kolb Excavating, you know. And so people that I've done business with that I want to use, George Stock, the engineer, is local. I'm not bringing in, even the architect is going to be local. So I really believe to help the region. You know, a lot of people bring a lot of people from out of town. You know, I've had consultants look at it from out of town, but so in 18 months. So that means sometime in the fall of 26 or the spring of 27.
Wow.
And I already have 4 or 5 apartment developers that are ready to go.
I was going to ask, what is going to be the first to get developed
Well,
on
we're
the
going
property?
to redo the Macy's.
Okay.
That'll be
first?
up there, you know, how to do that. And then I have an active over 55 developer, and I have 2. And then I have a crazy thing, and I wish I could announce it, a boutique hotel. It's high-end for Chesterfield. Be the highest end, 130 rooms with a spa and very little meeting areas, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7. I don't need a meeting area. And I'm not looking for conventions there. So it's all coming together.
And I bet an incredible top floor view.
Well, we're going to put it on the parking garage. We'll have the overlooking the valley.
Yeah, because it's a beautiful
You know,
view.
and you get, and I've been to a couple of the new rooftop here in Clayton. They're not really. They're too crowded. They don't have the views. They don't. You know, it's the same elevator. You're crowded to get in, and so again, I've gone around the country, and the best one for streetscape and everything is Cherry Creek in Denver. It's the best. And I'm taking I took pictures of the pavers. I said, copy this. I took the street lights. I said, copy this. Imitation's the finest form of flattery.
We got a friend
Yeah,
that owns
absolutely.
the city lifestyle like us in Cherry
Cherry
Creek.
Creek, yeah.
I know.
absolutely.
I get it.
Andy.
Yeah, I know him.
You know Andy?
When I
He's
say no,
fabulous.
I
I
know him
know.
from the magazine.
Yeah, I do.
He's a great guy. Oh, that's
so,
wonderful.
you know, and so you know, that's what I'm doing. So
Well, I can't wait to ask you the question of the day then.
okay, go ahead. Oh, okay.
So we always have a question of the day. So you're picked, all right? Michael, they are going to pick you to do a reality show of you. What's the title of it going to be?
Reality show, persistence.
But that's going to be the name of it, Persistence.
Persistence. You
I
know?
like that.
You can't quit. You can't beat someone who won't quit.
Yeah.
You know, everybody never thought I'd get the Valley done. I remember in 1993, and I'm sitting on the bridge by RGA there, Chesterfield Parkway West. I call it the West exit there. of my father-in-law of blessed memory. And he says, "This is really a shame." I said, "There's going to be lemonade made down here." And he looked at me and he says, "What are you talking about? It's 18 feet underwater." And I said, "Just give me a couple years." So in 1995, I figured out how to do it. And, you know, everybody thought I was absolutely crazy. They said, I bought 400 acres down there, and they said, "What are you going to do?" There's no interchange. I got the interchange. First private interchange built in the state of Missouri. It's architectural, too. It's not an ugly interchange. Well lit. You know, the beds are well done, you know, inside. I overbuilt the interchange so I'd never have to have a complaint by anybody. It was too much traffic. It's probably too big. Okay, but it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember the state telling me it was a $39 million project that would take 3 years. $11 million in 9 months. I built it.
There you go.
You just got, you know, I just have a vision. I know how to get it done, and, you know, just get out of my way.
Get out of my way.
You know, I do. And, you know, people say, "Well, how do you do it?" I say, "I work every day that ends in Y." Okay. I like working. You know, I have other hobbies. Like, I used to run a lot, bike a lot, ski a lot. You know, I do other things, but I read a lot. I watch no TV. I mean,
Really?
one of my dear friends used to be head of William and Morris Talent Agency, the CEO, chairman of the board. He knows all these famous. So we're having dinner the other night with this famous movie star, and he says, "You know who this is?" I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, it was Brad Pitt." I had no idea.
And he's from Missouri.
I know, I had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
I said, "Nice to meet you." Okay. And he says, "I don't watch any movies." And, you know, my favorite movie is Gone with the Wind. You know, maybe I saw that, or, you know, the Wizard of Oz, but I don't watch any movies.
So why is that? Do you just having you sit down and stare at something, or?
I like to read. You know, I
Yeah.
read books, and I don't know. I just like to do different things, and I like to think. You know, I go home. You know, I'll sit there and, you know, think about stuff rather than just. I'll watch a basketball game. I do like watching the NBA or, you know, Sunday football, but I don't want to go to the games, but
Right.
because I can turn it
I
off.
like my seat on the couch.
Yeah, I do. It's great. You know.
To be nice
All right,
and comfortable.
So they say you can tell a lot about a person by the books they have on their shelf. Give me 2 of your favorite books that are on your
Pillars of the Earth. Okay, and the other one would probably be the book of Christy Matthews. Do you know who Christy Matthews is?
No.
Don't even know. First superstar of baseball. He was the pitcher that was the first superstar of baseball.
shelf. Wow.
And it's the most interesting book I've read in a long time. You know, what's the word that they used? I'm going to think of it in a second. I'll think of it. But
When you're driving home, it's going to come
it's
to
gonna
you.
come-
Call
yeah,
us.
it will come to me, and I just can't remember. But it's really a fascinating book about the 1900s of baseball.
All right, I'm writing that
He's
down.
writing it down.
Christy Matthews, and I know there's a local guy named Shep Hyken. Do you know Shep?
No.
He's one of the greatest guys, and he's all about customer service. And I have 4 or 5 of his books.
What's his name?
Shep Hyken, one of the greatest guys here. He was the #1 magician in the United States at one time. And I'm friends with him, and it's a funny story. So 25 years ago, he called me and said, "I'd like to have coffee with you." And I write everything down. And you can see my legal pad over here. I forgot to call him back. I saw him about a week later. "Don't call me. Don't talk to me. You told me you were going to call me back." I was embarrassed. I'm now good friends with them.
Yeah.
But customer service.
Yes.
And there's
It's
a book
everything.
called The Taxi.
All right, I'm going to write
It's,
that down.
I'll send that to you. I'm going to give that to you. It might take you 11 minutes to
read it?
To
Is
read
that-
this book. Yeah, but it's a great story. It's about a taxi driver that Shep got in, and in the back of there, before all the Uber and everything, there was water, the papers, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal.
Oh,
And he
customer
said-
service.
And he said, "Sir, take whatever you like.
Wow.
It's on me."
Incredible.
And so those are the things you think about. And, you know, kids today, it's hard for me because
Different world.
it's just, I had this today. I had a meltdown. I started having one of those, looking at everybody. I said, "Well, do you really need me? Because you're not going to listen to me today." And so I really had trying to, the deal never leads the money.
Yeah.
I mean, the money never leads the deal. The deal leads the money. Stop worrying about what you're going to make today. If it's good for everybody, everybody will be happy. And these kids look at me like,
Well, I wish we had another hour with you.
Oh
It's
my
been
gosh.
absolutely fabulous to talk with
Absolutely.
you. We do have to take it to a break
Oh,
here.
that's fine.
But do you have a favorite quote? So we have Michael Staenberg's, his book, Quotes, The Wit and Wisdom of Michael Staenberg, an updated collection. We're going to leave this here so that
Okay.
the one that you signed, that we don't own anything in Chesterfield. Do you have a favorite quote that you want to leave us with before we go to
From my
break?
dad.
Okay.
I was a fat kid. I weighed, and there's a picture in that book there. When I was 13, I weighed over 200 pounds. I weighed about 195 a day. And my dad, I was so fat I was never cold. So my dad used to say, if you don't bring your coat, you can't wear it. And
so
he would
true.
tell me that every time. And then the gentleman for Leo Eisenberg I went to work for in 1976 said, never go the same way twice. You might see something different. So anytime
like that.
I came here today, I'm going to go home a different way.
Different way.
And even though it takes me maybe 5
Careful,
minutes.
a lot of roads are closed off right
know.
now, so
Oh, I
be
do.
careful. You might be stuck.
See that detour sign before?
Right.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure,
yes.
and we can't wait to put a beautiful story in our magazine about
Right.
you. We'll
Thank
look
you.
forward to setting up that date and having and
I'll
featuring you.
come back, you
Yeah.
know. This is the first
We'd love
date.
to have you
Can't
back.
wait.
It takes 13 dates to get married.
There we
Don't
go.
tell anybody.
We're going to get him married. All right, we'll be back with more of In Your City show coming up next. We're going to be talking about Circa Flora here at the last hour that we're in of the hottest happy hour in STL. You're listening to the In Your City show on LouInfo.com, the new Lou information station. We'll be right back. hottest happy hour in STL is the In Your City show. I'm Kelly Lamb, Gordon Montgomery, and we are in the last part of this happy hour. I hope you've had some beverages and had a good time listening. We are speaking now to Jack Marsh. He's the executive artistic director at the St. Louis Circus Flora. Funniest thing, Gordon and I go to a wedding, we're going downtown, we're driving around a little bit, haven't been down in the city in a while, and we're like, what the heck? What is that big tent? I've lived in Missouri, St. Louis. We're in the St. Charles area, but my whole life. Now we're gonna find out how long it's been there, but still, I know you've been there a while, and we are going, this is the coolest thing ever. It's just like I went back in time. So Circus Flora is right down in the city. How long has it been there?
Big tent?
Yes, that big tent. We're like, what the heck?
Yeah. So the big top has been up there. I mean, it's been up this year since March, and it'll stay up through November. But it's Circus Flora's big top, and it's we've been up for 39 years now.
So
since
it goes
1986.
down at a certain time of the year? It's
Yeah.
actually down. So we lucked out driving by it, seeing it up then.
Yeah, well, it goes down over the winter time, and
So
then
we
and
could
then
have
comes up.
missed it being downtown and
That's
not
right.
thinking that, wow, how did we miss driving by this huge tent and not seeing it there? You missed it because while you were running around getting the mic from Michael and things like that, I asked him how long he's been with Circus Flora. And he says, since 1986.
Since 1986, when I was,
was-
just about 1.5 years old.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay.
He was like just born. How did that happen?
Through my mother. So my mom
Okay.
is she's been with Circus Flora since the beginning as well. She's a director, and folks who have come to Circus Flora might recognize her. She plays a sort of white-faced clown character. She acts as the storyteller of the show. She's we don't really have a sort of traditional ringmaster. She kind of serves that purpose of advancing the show and introducing
Is
the
that it
acts and
right
so on.
there?
Yep, that's my mom.
That's your mom.
Cecil McKinnon,
Look
yeah.
at that. Now, as a small child, that could terrify you.
No, she's a very friendly clown, and yeah.
I can't wait to meet her. So you're this child growing up in an arena that every child dreams of going to, and you're living it every single day.
Yeah, it's this beautiful world backstage at a circus, and you grow up and you're around your family and your friends, and everyone's living on the lot. We all we live in trailers all together. We sort of eat big communal potluck
Just like
meals.
circus.
It's a whole universe. It's it's as romantic as it sounds. But I would sort of go back and forth between regular life and school and Circus Flora, and
All your friends want to come
back and
over?
forth. Yeah. It was.
Now, do you play a role in Circus Flora like your mom?
Growing up, I did. Growing up, I was a juggler and an acrobat, and was part of the troupe and would perform. And since then, I've retired from performing, and now I'm the artistic director and executive director. So
You're
I'm
still so
really
young.
the producer of the show. Yeah.
That's incredible. We had a woman many years ago when I did radio with another station. We had this woman. She was like 80-something year old. She is locally
Talking about Bunny?
Yes. How do
Bunny
you
Heron.
remember that? She
You remember?
I know Bunny. Yeah.
trapeze.
Yeah.
At 85 or something for
Yep.
her birthday. She did it. She
Yeah.
sung. Gordon and I did it one time. There was
Scared the living one out of me.
when that bar comes and you grab
You don't
that
realize
bar.
it's pulling you forward.
Yeah.
It's
It was like,
terrifying.
as soon as it pulled me forward, I was like, what? As soon as it pulled me forward, I was like, okay.
Yep.
and
and
you
we
have
were
to have
really
strength.
high,
It's high.
Yeah. When you get up there, you
And
feel
they
how
tell
high
you
it
to
really
drop,
is,
and
yeah.
you're going down to that net. That's like kind of tinkle your pants a little bit there. That's a little scary.
Yeah.
So you know Bunny then.
Yeah. She's was always a big Circus Flora fan, and I knew that she continued to take circus classes at our partners at Circus Harmony down at City Museum. She would always go there.
And she
yeah,
wrote a
she's-
book. She had a book. That's why she'd come on the shows to talk about her book, and then to know that she still did that, because you have to have some strength to do that.
Yeah, a ton of strength.
How fun. So you've got, right now coming up, it's a beloved summer tradition, it says, which is the 39th season
Yep.
of Circus Flora, which is incredible. You just talked about that. The tent goes up for 39 years. You have Urban Legend.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. That starts June 22nd.
It ends June 22nd,
it
so you just have
ends.
one more week to
Oh,
catch us. Yeah, we
for
started.
heaven's sakes.
We've been up since June 5th, so we have a couple of weeks of shows under our belt, but there's
Okay.
only one more week to catch us. And it's Urban Legend is a show that we wrote. So it's every Circus Flora show has a storyline that carries it through. We're mostly a big top circus and with all the acrobats and such that you might expect, and then we're a little bit theater as well. So we have a storyline that carries the show through. All of the circus performers are sort of characters within this story. It's a basic and goofy story that's fun and lighthearted, and we try not to take ourselves too seriously. We joke around with it, but it's fun. So Urban Legend is about this lovely bucolic city that gets attacked by a monster. A monster. Yeah, we have
Godzilla.
Yep, it's a little Godzilla, a little Loch Ness monster, that kind of urban legend, and so we have this. Not to spoil too much, but there is a giant monster that comes in and attacks the people of the city.
So much fun. So this show, $10 tickets start at $10, right? And Metro Tix makes it very easy to be able to get the tickets. You can also purchase them at the Fabulous Fox Theater.
Yeah,
is that right?
At their box office as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then children 2 and under. So it's definitely family. If they're sit on your lap, you don't need a ticket for them.
Yeah.
So is this the only now? What will happen after the Urban Legend? Will there be another show that takes us through fall?
No. So Circus Flora, we're seasonal. We're in June. The Kransberg Arts Foundation owns and operates the Big Top as a multi-purpose venue. We think of ourselves as we're a strong tenant of that and putting the Big Top to the use for which it was intended. But beyond that, there's other events, concerts and such in there. I know they're doing music at the intersection in the fall that'll use the Big Top as a super unique performance concert venue.
So they use it as just like you said, an event venue when the Circus Flora's not going on.
Yeah, so it's the home of
That's
Circus
awesome.
Flora, and then it's also gets used for all these other things. So it's pretty amazing, and it's a terrific billboard for Circus Flora.
Yeah,
for
what's
people
the
driving by.
seating capacity? How many people does it hold?
It's a nice big house. We can seat about 1,100 people. But what's great is that because you're seated in the round, you can really. We just can put a lot of people in, but you never feel like you're far from the action. So even if even if you're in the quote-unquote worst seats in the house, the furthest away seats, you're about 20 feet from the ring. You can still see how
close.
amazing these things are that people are doing. You can see the sweat from their brow. You really get this kind of visceral sense of being part of the show because it's such an intimate venue.
Last time I've been to a circus.
We're going. June 22nd. We don't have long, so we have to get there.
Yeah, got to get there this week.
Definitely want to see there and be able to experience something so unique and different. Now, you do this. Have you been to other big circus type arenas or venues and had compared to what you do?
Yeah, I mean, my part of my job is to go see tons of circuses, and I do that
that's
around
part of your
all
job
around the
to go to
country,
the
all around the
circus.
world, and so yeah, I know all
What's
that's out
one
there.
that stood out the most to you? You said around the world, so that's pretty impressive. What's
Yeah.
something that stood out the most?
I mean, one of a show that I worked on this past fall is in London. It's called Come Alive. It's a live version of The Greatest Showman, the Hugh Jackman film. So we have and that's still running out there, and it's pretty great. It has all the wonderful songs from that film and set it to a proper circus. Yeah.
Are you working on or thinking or have something planned for next year of what you're planning on
well, next
doing?
year's our 40th anniversary, so we're just getting ourselves geared up for that. I mean, we have to focus on this week and finishing up this run of what's a really great show before we really in full sort of turn our wheels towards next year. But yeah, it's our 40th anniversary. It's a big one.
You'll
So
be back here, of course. We'll have to be
Yep.
talking about the 40th anniversary and
look
what's
forward to
going
it.
on. I know we don't have much time, but Circus Harmony, can you give us a little bit about that?
Yeah, they're a wonderful program based out of the City Museum, and we have in Circus Flora's show, Urban Legend, their sort of top acrobatic troupe does partner acrobatics as an act in Circus Flora. So they're a great partner of ours that they provide this wonderful training for kids and adults alike, and then they're sort of cream of the crop come and perform as part of the Circus Flora show with all of the other world-class circus artists that we pull from all over the country, all over the world.
Oh, it's been fabulous. Jack Marsh, he's the executive artistic director. He's executive and also the artistic director there. He's been there since he was a small child, which is incredible. And thank you so much for coming in. Circus Flora, they've got the Urban Legend. So It's going to end June 22nd, so you are going to want to get your tickets to the Big Top in Grand Center. It is quite a sight to see that big tent in St. Louis. I highly recommend that you go there, and you're going to see a monster at this event. So definitely get your tickets at Metro Tix. It's super simple to do. Don't miss it. June 22nd ends. We've had a great show today. Love the stories and everything that we found out in your city show. We'll be back tomorrow with another great show right here on the Lou Information Station, live on demand at louinfo.com. Until next time, cheers.